everybody that is present here. I'll start with my cabinet colleague, Excellency, the representative of the UN system, the development spokesperson, heads of securities, our partners, I saw the National Human Rights Commission, so the Bar Association, and all other protocols. I saw the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, and other government, civil society, media, and all those who are present here. I welcome all of you to this short press briefing. We, I think, are all, as of now, familiar with the background to the whole the TRRC concept. Since this government came into power in January 2017, the Ministry of Justice laid a consultative process that informed the need to set up a body that will look at what transpired during the immediate past 22 years rule of the former president, Yahya Jammeh. Consultations were done locally extensively, national conferences were organized, and study tours were conducted to go to the sub-region and even beyond to study what is suitable for our context. And in 2017, it all culminated into the passing of the TRRC Act in December. And then we gave back to the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission as we all know it. The setting of this process couldn't have been successfully done without the support of our key partners. And before we proceed, we have to return gratitude to all and sundry who have supported the Gambia in going through this transitional justice phase of our history, but particularly in supporting the establishment of the TRRC, but also supporting the process even after establishment, right through to this moment where we are. If I want to name, I probably would, no doubt, omit some very key partners who play an important role in this endeavor. However, the UN system is very prominent in this, right from the UN Peacebuilding Commission in New York, the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights in Dakar, but of course, other civil society, whether in the form of NGOs, local and international, or in the form of local civil society organizations, and state institutions also. So I would avoid listing, but we are grateful to all our development partners, local and international, bilateral or multilateral, for having supported us through this process. Of course, we also need to pay special gratitude to the commissioners themselves, the 11 commissioners that accepted to take up the assignment and do the difficult task, which span close to almost 3 years of a lot of hard work with their staff and the commission. They did a great sacrifice for the country, and their work, of course, evidence in the report that is about to go public. It took them nearly 3 years, a lot of hard work and sacrifice to unearth the atrocities that were committed in this country. They had over 870 days of hearing. That's quite a lot. And they heard from over 390 witnesses. So it's a great to sit down and even listen to these witnesses alone on a daily basis for long hours. And in some cases, they were very emotional stories they have to endure to listen to. It wasn't an easy task. So on behalf of the government of the Gambia, we're grateful to Chairman Dr. Cisse and all the other commissioners, as well as all their staff that supported the work of the commission. On the 25th of November, the commission submitted its report to the President. And it is a requirement under Section 30 of the TRRC Act that within 1 month of submission of the report, the President shall submit the report to some named institutions in the Act, including the Speaker of the National Assembly, the United Nations Secretary General, and any other person deemed necessary. We could have chosen to only comply with the letter of the law and just share with probably 2-3 names or institutions that were named in the Act. But we know we're quite aware of the interest the general public has in this report. So the Ministry of Justice decided, instead of just sending the few copies to the few names that have been listed in the Act, we could rather not just make the report public for the entire public to have access to it, to take a look at it, and then we will move from there. We would like to, from the onset, assure Gambians first and foremost, and friends and partners of the Gambia, that this government is committed to implementing the report of the Commission. However, you will all be aware the report is being studied, and the government will publish a white paper, hopefully 5 months from now, because the provision is 6 months, but 1 month has already elapsed from the time of submission. So we have about 5 months to go to study the report and publish a white paper that will inform the general public as to the position of the government on the report, which includes the findings and recommendation. So this, I will leave the rest to the final part of my statement, where probably I will inform you of what are the next steps from now on. At this stage, probably we can just go to one purpose here. That is the symbolic presentation of the reports themselves to the chosen institutions and their representatives. We do not have enough hard copies, but we intend to upload the report on our website immediately after this ceremony. So those who may not be able to grab a hard copy will be able to get a soft copy for your own use. At this stage, it's more of to welcome you. We are grateful for responding to the invitation. At this stage, thank you very much for now.
Thank you very much, Honorable AG. The TRRC has submitted 17 volumes to electioning the President, including 2 volumes containing allied matters. In compliance with Section 30, Sub-1 of the TRRC Act, copies of the report are going to be handed over to the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly, Her Excellency, the United Nations Rep for UNDP, representing the UN system, the representative of ECOWAS, hand over a copy to our Excellency, the United Nations Rep for UNDP. One of the most important people when it comes to the report, that's the representative of the Victim Center. Mr. Kijera.
That's for you.
And in the next few minutes, you will be able to access the soft copy on our website, moj.gm.
With regards to criminal liability for human rights violations and abuses are as follows. All the members of the junta, comprising Lieutenant Yaya A.J.J. Jame, Lieutenant Sana B. Sabali, Lieutenant Edward Singate, Lieutenant Said Buhaidara, Lieutenant Yankuba Ture, and Lieutenant Peter Singate, including their orderlies, Private Babu Kanjai, aka Njai Ponkal, JCB Mendi, Mustafa Ture, aka Churo, Lamin Marong, Lamin Sengo, aka Pasengo or Assassin, Private Zakaria Dabo, Ensa Mendi, and Jalimadi So, are responsible for the torture and inhumane treatment of Captain Mohammad Cham, AIG Ibrahim Chongan, and RSM Babuka Jeng at Mile 2 Central Prisons on September 6, 1994. 2. Sana Sabali and JCB Mendi are responsible for the torture of political prisoners after the 1994 coup, particularly O.J. Jallow. Yaya Jame also bears criminal responsibility for these crimes due to his failure as Commander-in-Chief to investigate and punish the perpetrators. 3. Captain Yaya Jame, Captain Sana Sabali, Captain Edward Singate, Captain Said Buhaidara, Captain Yankuba Ture, Captain Peter Singate, and Major Babuka Jata, together with their orderlies and security guards, are responsible for the torture and inhumane treatment of soldiers arrested and detained at Yundum Barracks on November 11, 1994, and also for unlawfully killing Lieutenant Jibril Sey, Lieutenant Abdullah Ba, Lieutenant Bakari Mane, aka Nyancho, Lieutenant Buba Jame, Lieutenant Momodu Lamindabo, Cadet Amadou Mbake Sila, Lieutenant Abdullah Dotfal, Lieutenant Basiru Baro, Papa Nyang, Sergeant Basiru Kamara, and EM Sise. 4. Captain Yaya Jame, Captain Edward Singate, together with the orderlies and security guards, including Alaji Martin and Lamin Sengo, are responsible for the unlawful arrest, unlawful detention, imprisonment, torture, and sexual violence of Sana Sabali and Saidu Haidara. Captain Yaya Jame and Captain Edward Singate are also responsible for the unlawful killing of Saidu Haidara. 5. Captain Yaya Jame, Captain Edward Singate, Captain Yankuba Ture, Captain Peter Singate, Private Alaji Kanyi, Private BK Jata, and Private Pa Alio Gomez are responsible for the unlawful killing of Usman Koro Sise. 6. Captain Yaya Jame and his state guard personnel, including Alma Momane, deceased, Bubakar Ba, Musa Jame, alias Malia Mungo, deceased, Sergeant Gomez, alias Hitler, and Kausu Kamara, alias Bombardier, were responsible for the persecution, sexual violence, and torture of PPP supporters, particularly J. Jallo, Hussein Unjai, and MC Cham, who were arrested, mistreated, and unlawfully detained at Fajara Barracks in 1995 and 1996. As leaders of the group that went to the bridge, Edward Singate, Yankuba Ture, and Peter Singate are responsible for the tortures of scores and the murder of 2 UDP supporters around Denton Bridge in Banjul sometime in December 1996. Yahya Jammeh also bears responsibility for these serious crimes of unlawful killings, persecution, torture, and inhumane treatment of UDP supporters at the Denton Bridge in December 1996 due to failure to prosecute. Yahya Jammeh is responsible for the persecution of Gambian journalists between 1994 to January 2017 by unlawfully arresting, harassing, detaining, deporting, torturing, forcing them into exile, killing, and disappearing them. 9. Yahya Jammeh, former Vice President Aissat Njai Sedi, and heads of the security agencies, including Babukar Jatta, former Chief of Defense Staff, Usman Baje, former Minister of Interior, Babukar Sow, former Crime Management Coordinator of the Police, and Mamadou Cisse of the PIU, along with Abdul Njai alias Giri, Gorgim Buk, Inspector Dabo, Modu Lamin Fati, Abdullah Ba, Modu Cham, Modu Gajaga, Corporal Lamin Kamara, Captain Wassa Kamara, all bear responsibilities for the killing of 17 civilians on April 10th and 11, 2000. 10. Yahya Jammeh bears responsibility for the killing of both Almamo Mane and Mamadou Doumbouya. 11. Yahya Jammeh, Tumbul Tamba, Aliou Jeng, Sana Manjang, Malik Jatta, Manlafi Kaur, Kausul Kamara, aka Bombardier, and Bailo are responsible for the killing of journalist Deda Haidara. 11. Yahya Jammeh, Usman Sonko, Tumbul Tamba, Suleiman Baje, and Bailo are responsible for the attempted murder of lawyer Usman Sila. 12. Yahya Jammeh, Tumbul Tamba, Malik Jatta, Solo Bojang, Sana Manjang, and Aliou Jeng are responsible for the killing of Dauda Nyasi. 14. Yahya Jammeh, Tumbul Tamba, Solo Bojang, Malik Jatta, Sana Manjang, and Aliou Jeng are responsible for the killing of Ndongo Buk and disappearance of Mamadou Laminyasi and Buba Sanyang. 15. The perpetrators of the unlawful killing of Haruna Jammeh and Jasaja Kujabi are Yahya Jammeh, Tumbul Tamba, Solo Bojang, Sana Manjang, Omar Jallo, aka Oya, and Aliou Jeng. 16. Yahya Jammeh, Tumbul Tamba, Solo Bojang, Seni Jammeh, Yusufa Sane, Omar Jallo, aka Oya, Bora Koli, Michael Korea, Sana Manjang, Michael Jatta, Fansu Nyabali, Ismaila Jammeh, and Aliou Jeng are responsible for the unlawful killings of Daba Marena, Manlafi Kaur, Ibulo, Alpha Ba, Aliou Cisse, Masti Jammeh, and Julia Mako. Yahya Jammeh and the junglers, comprising Sana Manjang, Musa Jammeh, and Suleiman Sambu, are responsible for the killing of Kajali Jammeh, Yama Koli, Baidam, Sheikh Fal Faouz Jeng, and 3 other unknown men suspected to be cattle rustlers. Yahya Jammeh is responsible for the unlawful killing of Cisse Bujelim. Next. Yahya Jammeh, Omar Jallo, aka Oya, Pa Osman Sane, Mustafa Sane, Michael Jatta, Fansu Nyabali, Malik Manga, Suleiman Sambu, Mamadou Jaju, alias Rambo, and Noah Baje are responsible for the unlawful killing of Baba Job. 20. Yaya Jame, Nuha Baje, Umodu Jaju alias Rambo, Lieutenant Mustafa Sane, Staff Sergeant Malik Manga, Staff Sergeant Omar Jallo alias Oya, Staff Sergeant Suleiman Sambu, Lau Jaju, and Suandi Kamara are responsible for the murder of Suleiman Dao and Mahawa Cham. 21. Yaya Jame, Yankuba Baje, General Suleiman Baje, Major Noah Baje, Captain Momodu Jaju, aka Rambo, Lieutenant Mustafa Sane, Lieutenant Michael Jata, WO2 Fancy Nyabali, WO2 Pasane, Staff Sergeant Amadou Baje, Staff Sergeant Suleiman Sambu, Staff Sergeant Malik Manga, Staff Sergeant Omar Jallo, alias Oya, Lieutenant Michael Correa, and Corporal Sekuba Jaju are responsible for the unlawful killing of Mahmoud Sise and Ibu Jo. 22. Yaya Jame, Yankuba Baje, General Suleiman Baje, Lieutenant Colonel Noah Baje, Captain Momodu Jaju, alias Rambo, Staff Sergeant Omar Jallo, alias Oya, Staff Sergeant Malik Manga, Staff Sergeant Suleiman Sambu, and Staff Sergeant Sekuba Jaju are responsible for the unlawful killing of Ndo Cham. 23. Yaya Jame, General Suleiman Baje, and Borakoli bear joint responsibility for the killing of Ilo Jallo. 24. Yaya Jame, General Suleiman Baje, Nuha Baje, Mustafa Sane, Omodu Jaju alias Rambo, Fanti Nyabali, Omar Jallo alias Oya, and Suleiman Sambu are responsible for the murder of Mustafa Koli. 25. Yaya Jame, General Saul Baje, Sheikh Omar Jeng, Lieutenant Colonel Nuha Baje, Major Momodu Jaju, aka Rambo, Captain Mustafa Sane, Captain Michael Jata, WO2 Fancy Nyabali, WO2 Malik Manga, Staff Sergeant Suleiman Sambu, Sergeant Omar Jallo alias Oya, Staff Sergeant Amadou Baje, Major Sana Manjang, and Corporal Sekuba Jaju are responsible for the unlawful killing of Tumani Jallo and Abdullah. 26. Yaya Jame, Fode Bari, Salmina Drame, Amin Babadin Jobade, Mendy, first name unknown, Hari Sambu, and Samsudin Sa are responsible for the tortures and inhumane degrading treatment of Yaya Jame, Balo Kante, Balde, and Omar Damfa at the NIA headquarters in Banjul, and for the unlawful killing of Yaya Jame, who died at Mile 2 Central Prisons. 27. Yaya Jame, Tijan Ba, Baba Saho, Fode Bari, Usman Jallo, Salmina Drame, Usman So, Idrissa Job, alias Alaji Mo, and Sukuta Jame, deceased, responsible for the torture of Lieutenant Omar Dabo and Ibrahim Abaro. 28. Yaya Jame is culpable, together with Omar Cham as his superior, for his failure to punish Omar Cham for the tortures that he committed against NAWEC staff between 2001 and 2003. 29. Yaya Jame and his band of junglers, including Manlafi Ko, Tumbul Tamba, Musa Jame, Michael Sankoria, Momodu Jaju alias Rambo, Noah Baje, Mustafa Sane, Malik Jata, Amadou Baje, Sana Manjan, Omar Jallo alias Oya, Noah Baje, Sekou Jallo, Solo Bojang, Borakoli, Alaji Matson alias Eyes and Ears of Yaya Jame, as well as the members of the panel, Fode Momodu Haidara, ASP Demba So, Lamin Cham, Abdullah So, ASP Malamin Sise, Corporal Boto Keita, the late Sergeant Seni Ndur, Yusuf Afai, Fali Jabang, Usman Bojang, CDS Lang Tombong Tambang, former CDS Lang Tombong Tamba, former IGP Usman Sonko, Alaji Martin, Baba Saho, and Kode Bari, responsible for the tortures of Bunja Dabo, Wasa Kamara, Yaya Dabo, John Pierre Mendy, Faring Sanyang, Momodu Babadi Sar, Momodu and Alioba, and civilians, namely Shea Omar Fall, the Marabu, Alio Job, Demba Dem, and Tamsir Jase. 30. Yaya Jame and Lamin Dabo, Edrisa Job, alias Aladimo, Sherif Wada, Babuka Art Jalo, Samba Gajaga, Lamin Dabo, all the above NIA operatives, as well as Salifun Nyang and Boto Keita, police officers, are responsible for the torture of Keba Seka, an NIA operative, Sam Kamba, a soldier, Mumini Balde, and Kemo Kon. 31. Including Omar Koli, Luis Gomez, Yankuba Baje, Buba Beyai, Edrisa Job, alias Alajimo, Sheriff Gassama, Lamin Mane, Sukuta Jame, deceased from the NIA, Lamin S. Sanyang, Sergeant Senundu, deceased, and Lamin Cham from the Gambia Police Force, Lieutenant Bora Koli, Solo Bojang, and Jere Gomez from the Gambia National Army are responsible for the torture and fabrication of evidence against Lieutenant General Lang Tombong Tambang, CDS, Abdullahi Ali Ju, Yusuf Ezzedine, alias Rambo, Brigadier General Omar B. Mbai, Lamin Bobaje, Major Kausu Kamara, alias Bombardier, Deputy Inspector General of Police, Modu Gay, and Jibril Ngor Seka. 32. NIA officers Lamin Dabo, Basiru C, Alassana Balde, and Jibril Kami are responsible for the torture of Amadou Jogo So, Seydou So, and Abbas, last name 53. NIA officers Basiru C, Alassana Balde, Jibril Kani, Alio Sumare, and Lamin Dabo are responsible for the torture of Sajo Toure. 34. Sana Manjang, Modu Jaju, and Malik Jata, Fali Jabang, all junglers, were part of the group that tortured Lamin Bojang during the Freedom newspaper saga. Modu Jaju, alias Rambo, and Sana Manjang are responsible for the torture of journalist Lamin Cham during the Freedom newspaper saga. 36. Yaya Jame, Tumbul Tamba, Kausu Kamara alias Bombardier, Bailo, Musa Baje, Landing Tamba, Sana Manjang, Solo Bojang, Malik Jata, Alio Jeng, Omar Jalo alias Oya, Lamin Sila, and Buba Jalo are responsible for the murder of the West African migrants. 37. Yaya Jame is responsible for the rape of Fatou Jalo alias Tufa. 38. Yaya Jame is responsible for the sexual abuse of protected witness DB18. 39. Usman Sonko is responsible for the several rapes and torture of Binta Jamba. 40. Yaya Jame bears responsibility for the rape of protected witness FB17. 41. Yaya Jame and Dr. Tamsir Mbo are responsible for the deaths of 41 HIV/AIDS patients who died as a result of their fake treatment program. They are also responsible for the sexual violence committed against the victims, which was part and parcel of the treatments administered. 42. Yaya Jame, Solo Bojang, and Sekou Jallow bear responsibility for the deaths, sexual violence, torture, and other inhumane acts and persecution committed against the persons they accused as being witches or wizards during the president's witch hunt exercise. Yaya Jammeh, Sol Baje, and Solo Bojang are responsible for the unlawful execution of 9 Mile 2 death row inmates. Finally, Yaya Jammeh, Yankuba Baje, Esquire DG of NIA, Cheoma Jeng, and Tamba Masire are responsible for the torture and persecution of the UDP supporters in April 2016. In line with Section 19, Sub 1 of the TRRC Act, any adversely mentioned individual who has previously appeared before the Commission and made a full disclosure of his or her involvement in human rights violations and abuses and has expressed remorse is hereby granted a period of 14 days to apply to the Commission for The Commission shall within a period of 6 weeks review all applications for amnesty and provide a report to His Excellency the President accordingly. Where the Commission refuses an application for amnesty, it shall give reasons for its refusal in writing to the applicant and any other person who in relation to the offence is a victim. In line with Section 19, Sub 3 of the TRRC Act, amnesty shall not apply to acts which form part of a crime against humanity. The above findings are without prejudice to any future prosecution, but in the interim, the adversely mentioned individuals continue to benefit from the presumption of innocence. The government will continue its review of the TRRC report as well as any recommendations for amnesty and shall issue a white paper on or before the 25th of May 2022. Signed, Honorable Dauda A. Jallow, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, 24th of December 2021.
At this stage, and like we said, the report will be publicly available, if not already available on our website very soon. You will see that the truth for which the TRRC was assigned to unearth is now lying bare before all of us. I think what is left now is the other aspects of the TJ process, which is reconciliation, reparation, and justice. I can assure you that the government of the Gambia, like I said earlier in my introductory statement, is committed to implementing the recommendations of the report. Of course, subject to the outcome of the study that is underway and the publication of the white paper. In the meantime, some of the next steps that we're doing includes trying to set up a successor, sort of an institution or an organization that will be administering and managing the victims' compensation fund that government intends to set up very soon. We will set up the fund and we will set up a body of individuals that will manage the fund. And this will be done through statute so that they are independent. They will carry out their mandate without any interference from government. We are aware of the fact that the TRRC have started implementing some reparation in the form of monetary compensation, but we are also aware that this is not adequate, and it has not covered all the victims as well. So reparation will be an ongoing activity, and this body that we are about to set up will continue to do that. I have said in, I think, one or two earlier public statements I have made earlier, that this new budget, national budget, that the government will be implementing, and I'm happy my colleague, the finance minister, is here, from January 2022, some amount of money have been put aside in the national budget in the excess of over $150 million earmarked to kickstart this reparation component of the recommendations of the TRRC. So we will set up a victims fund and a management body that will manage that. We also already set up a working group within the ministry, which will very soon be joined by at least 2 experts, local and an international expert, to support that working group to carry on the study of the report and advise government and assist government as well in the drafting of the white paper. So that is also on the way. With respect to the justice component, it's important that I re-echo partly what Council was saying, and I elaborate a little bit. I don't know whether the media will have some questions in this direction. The amount of material we received from the Commission is huge, in the form of transcripts and other material. These recommendations that you have had, that some people are culpable and are liable for some of the crimes that have been mentioned, we have not dissolved the Commission for a good reason, because there are residual activities that the Commission under their mandate are yet to accomplish. And this includes receiving applications from people that have already been recommended for prosecution, but may be entitled to some form of amnesty. So I am giving 14 days from today. Anybody whose name has been mentioned and is suspected of having committed any of these atrocities, and you think you are entitled to some form of amnesty, you are required to apply within this 2 weeks period to the same commission, the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission. They may not be holding any public session, but the commission is still in place. So you submit your application to them. It is the commission that will review these applications and recommend. They would not necessarily grant you amnesty, but they would recommend to the government, in their view and their objective assessment, whether or not you are entitled to any form of amnesty. Then government will act on that recommendation and decide who to grant amnesty or not, depending on the recommendation we are going to receive from the Commission. So there is a little bit of window of respite still available for people to take advantage of. For the rest, like I stated in that statement that was just read, they will continue to benefit from the presumption of innocence, and work at the Ministry of Justice continues. We will be studying all the material evidence we have received from the Commission, and on a case-by-case basis, on a recommended charge-by-charge basis, we are required to come to a determination as to whether we have got sufficient materials to proceed with the charges in the event government decide to charge anybody, And for some, clearly, the Commission have even recommended that further investigations are required. And in those cases, we will be carrying out further investigations. But in situations where we've got sufficient evidence and the person is not benefiting from any kind of amnesty, of course, justice will take place. There are issues surrounding the issue of the justice component, that is, who will be tried, where would they be tried, and which court, is it Gambia, outside of Gambia, and so on and so forth. But I can assure you, we are clear in our head as to what is the sense of direction, and we are working closely with our partners in this direction. And very soon we will reach a determination as to what suits our context. So there are challenges, but we are aware of them, and we are working towards surmounting those challenges. So none of the challenges will be a bar to justice. I think I would summarize it that way. There are challenges, but each and every challenge is surmountable, and we will do everything that is possible. All that I would urge the public at this stage is, the expectations are high, and this can be expected, but we need to continue to exercise restraint and exercise patience. These things are processes, and sometimes they take time. You heard me say the TRRC had over 100 days of hearing. They have seen over 390 witnesses. Now, a material that has been gathered over 800 days from over 390 witnesses, my ministry had 6 months only to dig into all of that material and come to a determination. But we are grateful. We are getting a lot of support from our development partners, and we will do it. By the end of the 6 months, and 5 months from now to be specific, because 1 month is gone, we will come up with a white paper. And this white paper is the one that will inform the public what is the position of government. So at this stage, probably we will invite some questions from the media. I will attempt to clarify them for you and answer them. Then we will draw the curtains. I don't know in what order will that be. But you're not in the hall here. But I have the privilege of, oh, you're here. All right, so let's have some questions. Well, if you want to ask questions, let me see you and then you identify yourself. Yes, who are you? Okay.
We just wish to announce that the full report is currently available for download on the ministry's website. That's www.moj.gn/downloads. You go to our Twitter page, the link is available there, and it's available for immediate download on the
At this stage, I would like to recognize the presence of His Excellency, the Senegalese ambassador, and the Qatari ambassador. They are with us here. You're most welcome. The diplomatic community, our bilateral partners, have been very supportive, like I said. So we recognize your presence. Yes.
Thank you very much, my name is you talked about operation, and that it's not enough. We've seen 1 million was provided to the victim family. 1 million. We understand that the maximum is 600,000. Even if it's possible why this difference, and most importantly, you spend a lot of thought in your studio. How will such times, which is a bit of a challenge,
Thank you. Thank you very much. On the Farabak, you will recognize, of course, as members of the media, that the Farabak Commission and the Truth Commission are two different commissions. So So their recommendation does not necessarily have to be the same. So what I can say is the 600,000 that has been earmarked by the TRRC for those who lost their lives as maximum compensation. I do not know how the TRRC arrived at that figure, and I must say that is not a figure from government. I remember you all know TRRC is an independent entity. So I don't know how they arrive at that figure. And that is why I emphasize in my statement that even the successor institution we will be setting up to take care of reparation, government will have to still have a hands-free approach. We are not going to interfere in that process. So that body will again still determine what they think is appropriate, right? So this is not these are not amounts that are determined by government. So I would simply say, I don't know why 600, and I don't know why 1 million in the earlier commission. But all I know is we are committed to compensating victims to the best of our ability and to what independent-minded individuals consider to be proportionate to the kind of suffering that they experience. But how that is determined, we will entrust that to the experts that will be given that responsibility. And on the issue of torture, I know where you're going to. Torture is not a known offense in our laws, even up to now as we speak. So your question is, would that not be a challenge to prosecution? Of course, these are some of the challenges I was trying to allude to earlier when I said the issue of implementing the justice component of the recommendations, there will be some challenges. But these challenges can be solved. The thing is, it is our domestic courts that would not have jurisdiction to prosecute torture. But torture is a customary international law. It is a jus cogens. Anybody, most lawyers know this. So it has universal jurisdiction. By that we mean any country in the world can prosecute torture. So if it cannot be prosecuted in the Gambia, it doesn't mean it cannot be prosecuted. It can still be prosecuted. So the good thing about those kind of offenses, when you commit them, you don't enjoy immunity at all, because there will always be a willing country that will volunteer to host your prosecution and even to prosecute you. So there will be no safe haven for anybody that commits torture. It's not even only for this TRRC. This is universally accepted. Anybody that commits torture, it will be a matter of time, but you will face justice one way or the other. So to answer you, in our own context, what we have in mind, how we can resolve that challenge could be, we can come up with an arrangement where we can have a court that will partner with an international body. And this could be what we call the hybrid kind. And in that hybrid kind of arrangement, the court will still maintain and retain its domestic jurisdiction to deal with offenses that are purely domestic and are offenses on our domestic laws. But the court will at the same time also be able to hear and determine offenses that are international in nature, because it will be a hybrid court, so it can try both domestic and international crimes. That's one way of solving that, but there's another way. There's another way. You can even set up a fully international court that will deal with all international nature crimes. So, like I said, yes, it is a challenge at the moment, because technically, we will not be able to charge anybody for torture and arraign you before our High Court as it is now. Okay? So that is the challenge. But then there are alternatives to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister, for that wonderful presentation. My name is Hamid Cham of the Standard Newspaper. I want to know, now that names have been mentioned, have been freely discussed for the report of people who continue to be in position of senior responsibility in various government institutions. First, when the issue as to who might have been mentioned in the TRRC adversely or mentioned, the government has said, well, have to take time and wait, for the TRRC report as to who might be responsible for it. Now that some of the names have been mentioned in the report, have been criminally responsible and they continue to serve in the position, what is going to be the attitude of the government, particularly the nation, in the case of those people still continue to be in the position and they are named here like the report, what will discuss?
Thank you. We will inform the public in due course regarding that. We are yet to discuss the report in cabinet. I can see you asking, for example, what will be the immediate administrative measures that can be taken while we await for the white paper, if I understand your question. Yes, so we will be looking into that and the public will duly be informed as to what is the position of government on temporal measures while we await for the actual white paper, which is due in 5 months' time. Thank you.
Some victims who have received the money from TRRC, some of them have just received returned the money from TRRC. What is your concern about that?
Some of them have?
Some of them have received the money. They refuse to take the money from TRRC. What is your concern about it?
Well, the money was meant for them, and it was given to TRRC, and government was not interfering the way TRRC was going to administer that. So if they weren't happy, I don't know the reason why those who rejected the money rejected it, but like I said, we will set up a successor body to the TRRC that will continue to carry out that reparation component. I don't know, unless I know what was the reason. Definitely, I don't think I have any. I would be concerned generally to say why you didn't receive money, but is it because they don't receive money because they don't want monetary compensation for what happened to them? But there are certain human beings who would say, no, I don't want the money. Probably I just want an apology, or I want this. I don't know why they are not taking the money, or do they consider it too small? But like I said, if for those of you who are thinking that the amount of money offered to you is too small, I'm telling you now that what TRRC is offering you might not be the end of it all. I mean, reparation and compensation is going to continue. And if another body determines that what TRRC has given you is not sufficient, then the difference will be paid. If they consider that what is given to you commensurates to the kind of violation you experience, either directly or to your loved ones, that will be determined by a body that is not going to be government. For us at this stage is to accept that government have a responsibility to compensate victims, and we are committed to that. But the implementation of it, we do not want to play a role in that. We will always entrust it to bodies that will advise government.
My name is William Secker. I'm the proprietor of House Stadium. And thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for the very good presentation that you gave today. I understand you've already projected $150 million for compensation. I would like to know how did you come to that figure? And I would like to advise the Commission or the Ministry or the Government of Gambia that to give credibility to the TRRC, the state should come clear to give full account of the properties seized from the Gambia. And the over $1 billion or $20 million collected from the sales of the Gambia's assets and use those funds and assets to settle the victims. I think this is the best way for national reconciliation and to bring lasting peace in our country. I take this opportunity to thank the Gambia government and all parts of the Gambia who stood side by side with the Gambia people through this time in our nation's history. While I look forward to a speedy reparation and final reconciliation, so I wish you all a happy and a prosperous new year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The $150 million or over, because it's over that amount, I just want to be conservative with the figures, is not based on a determination of sufficiency. What we recognize as a government is compensation is going to be an ongoing process. We do not even know at the moment, professionally, what is adequate. Because like I said, government doesn't want to be the one that will be determining how much somebody should receive. So we do not have that professional advice yet, how much compensation is adequate. So it's a contingency budgeting that Ministry of Finance did. Just put money aside, and then once the fund is established, this money will be a seed money. But of course, at any point in time that we are advised that more is needed, government is committed to put money into the fund. And of course, we have development partners that are also committed to support in the fund. We have other sources where we know we can get money to put it in the fund. So for me, that leads me to your next point, saying the proceeds of the Jame asset. I think what is important is victims to be assured of compensation, and this promise bears fruit. This is government. Where that money is going to come from, I don't think should be a big deal. When it is professionally established that somebody is entitled to $1 million or 2 or 3, as long as government can pay that $1 million or 2 or 3, where government is going to get that money from, I don't think that should be a problem. Whether it's going to come from proceeds of Jame sale, or whether it's going to come from the national budget, or whether it's going to come from a donor assistance, I don't think that should be a major point of concern. What should be of concern is government guarantees that when we are advised that victims are to be compensated this quantum, we are committed to ensuring compensation is done. I think that's much I can say what you have just raised. Thank you.
One more, please.
All right.
My name is Fatu Bande. I work with Women in Liberation and Leadership. We are a women-led organization that have been working in the transitional justice. I am quite encouraged by the specific concentration on sexual violence. So I have a question and also an observation. First, with the observation, a lot of the people are talking about compensation in the form of monetary. We need to acknowledge that compensation doesn't always have to be monetary. We need to look at other forms of compensation that can be provided to victims, but also particularly female victims, to ensure that when we look at sexual violence, we look at what can we do to make sure that not the occurrence is concentrated on. How do we prosecute STDD? We also, what happened when female victims came and testified because they were victims of STDD? What are we going to do to assure victims of STDD that they will get justice? But also, how do we use the TRRC recommendations to empower women and girls in this country? That's what I wanted to just contribute.
Thank you. This is very useful. There's a lot of recommendation on issues of institutional reform, issues of other forms of reparations that will ensure that these things are not repeated again. What we are focusing more on this press conference is the criminal aspect and just making the report itself public. But of course, like I said, we are studying the entire report. And it's gratifying that we still continue to enjoy the partnership with a lot of organizations that are interested to work with government through these reform processes. So yes, there is a lot more that can be done other than monetary compensation. You are quite right. In fact, there are some people that would not even take monetary compensation for what happened to them. They would want to see other things, and that will be satisfying to them. So we are very mindful of that, and that's a very good reminder. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you for the presentation and thank you for the sharing of as well. My name is Kiralawa. I'm the Deputy Network against the Security Committee. And what I would like you to speak on is integration. We have that has been mentioned. Because family having learned to get it. Thank you.
It is part of the recommendation, so we also have partners that are interested in supporting us in this direction. So, and these are some of the areas that where we even need further investigation, because there are certain disappearances that happen unless we do some proper investigations and exhume certain bodies. We may face some challenges in proceeding with some of those recommendations. So yes, it's within the report. We are mindful of it. This is an area that will require our further studies and partnership with expertise. We do not have the expertise in government at the moment for some of those things. But those that we can do, our position will be known very soon, especially if you are working in this area. Hopefully let me use this opportunity to invite you to engage the ministry in this direction so that we continue to work a way out of this. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I think, as you said, we've all been waiting for this and informative. Dr. Biden has spoken on one of the topics I wanted to talk about, so I would like to back from. At this point, we know we're in a very polarized we even know that Christians, on the one hand, are not really supported by others, including the fight for the Middle. What I wanted to find out in this respect is what plans have been placed for national reconciliation agreement, and also in terms of state of management responsibility. I believe it will come later, but just if you can answer it. Thank you. I was just going to talk about the study I'm not going to go to class and not to know institutions for no realization. Which was held in when at class. But the government had to initiate realization increase, but as you know, it's not that I started doing that. And there's a lot to continue that. If the government needs to look or pick up initiatives, we need to ask the government questions, but not everything is government. And also if the government is not, the government also needs to issue
Thank you. I understand your concern, but I wouldn't want to preempt the white paper. I wouldn't say anything to that. Allow us time to study the report. Our position on all of those issues will be known when we bring out the white paper. So yes, there are memorialization recommendations that are made, but we are studying the report. So I wouldn't preempt the government position. The government have not taken any position yet on any of the recommendations, and our position will officially be known in the white paper. Thank you.
Taylor from my question, sir, is regarding our West African brothers and sisters. They are also victims. Over 100
Thank you. When we say reparation, when we say justice, it has no status. We don't wear it a national or non-national face. Anybody that was a victim of the regime is a victim. So our only characteristic is you're a victim. Your nationality doesn't matter. So they are victims. So whenever we say victims, they are part of what we are talking about in terms of reparation, in terms of compensation, in terms of justice. Okay, thank you. If it is in the report, if something different is recommended for them in the report, then we will deal with that, and our position on that will be known in the white paper. Anything that is handed over to us, if contained in the report, the outcome of that you have to patiently wait for the white paper. So I wouldn't be able to say anything to that. The temporal compensation process that started at the TRRC was independent of government. Whatever they did not complete and handed it over to us, I will urge you, and through you, the members of the public, to allow us to go through the report, and our position on every single issue in the report will be known when the white paper is out. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any last words from you before we close?
No, except to return gratitude again to everybody that has answered to our invitation to grace this occasion. It was meant to be a bit brief, but I think we held you a little longer than we expected. But thank you again for being with us. And for our partners, we are available. Our doors are open. Work still continues. This is not necessarily the end. I think there's a lot more work ahead. And we continue to invite all of you. For the victims, I have always assured you I have an open door, and you know that. Keep coming to the office. Let's work together. Let's see how far we can go. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming.